In 1964, The Evil of Frankenstein made Hammer a profit, but the next year was going to be a roller coaster ride. The studio at this time was backed by Seven Arts and, in 1965, became partners with MGM, which gave Hammer more money and opportunities to develop more movie-making ideas besides gothic horror. However, the studio had mixed successes in 1965. Several non-horror films flopped, but a remake of the jungle adventure, She, was a major success. In 1966, Hammer released 2 gothic horror films starring Christopher Lee, Dracula, Prince of Darkness, and Rasputin, the Mad Monk. Both movies were profitable and brought the studio back to producing its trademark gothic horror. So it decided to produce the next chapter in its Frankenstein franchise. Terence Fisher returned to direct. The original script had been written in 1958 as a sequel to The Revenge of Frankenstein. Anthony Hines, under the pen name John Elder, is credited with the script as used. Peter Cushing also returned. So, in 1966, Hammer Studios started shooting Frankenstein Created Woman. Baron Victor Frankenstein, aided by his young assistant Hans, experiments with the human soul and proves that it lingers briefly after death. The next step, he decides, is to capture a soul and transfer it into another body. Hans is falsely accused by 3 local aristocrats of killing the local innkeeper. He is quickly convicted and sentenced to death. Christina, Hans's disfigured lover and daughter of the murdered man, is devastated when she sees Hans being guillotined and takes her own life. Frankenstein seizes the opportunity to test his theories and restores Christina's body. He transfers Hans's soul into her and removes her deformities. She is now a strikingly beautiful woman who is animated by Hans's spirit. She is, however, driven by vengeance. Frankenstein's experiment quickly spirals beyond his control. Driven by her dead lover's essence, she hunts down the men and exacts bloody revenge to fulfill Hans's desire for justice. Christina's tormented identity fragments between her grief and Hans's rage. Her anguish becomes unbearable and she takes her own life once more.
Tonight we're going to discuss Frankenstein Created Woman. Probably what I think is the strangest one of the entire franchise, but also maybe one of the most watchable because of Susan Denberg. The film itself goes in so many different directions, but I guess the one thing that surprises me, and we'll get to it, is after all these scientific experiments, this movie centers on the soul of all things, and Frankenstein's fascination with the soul and how to capture it. Very strange, and it was written by Anthony Hines, John Elder, and it was directed by Terence Fisher. So that's actually, I think, a good pairing. I think this movie was worthwhile, and Susan Denberg should have probably had at least one nude scene. Besides that, she did look pretty good in a couple of scenes, though.
Did you know she was in a Star Trek?
That's one of Mudd's women.
Magda, yeah, she was the pretty one with the short brown blonde hair. I think she produced the 3. I felt kind of sad though, because apparently after this and Star Trek dropped, she packed her bags and went back home because I guess she was getting into drugs and stuff.
You know, though, she's still alive.
Yeah,
yeah.
But you can't find pictures of her.
Well, you can find pictures of her.
But I'll tell you something else found interesting too. This one was actually produced by Anthony Nelson Keys as opposed to Anthony Hines, which is probably why it had a stranger look to it. I think Hines is a better producer than he is a writer, but that's just me. The one thing about Hammer films, usually the first scenes are usually pretty good.
They're designed to grab your attention and then punch you in the gut and drag you into the movie. That's most good openings are like that, and Hammer's really good at it, especially Fisher.
So with that being said, let me get to the first scene, which is the beginning to set the whole thing up.
Oh, the opening though.
Right, father. You really, Mr. Sheriff.
I find this interesting. There's religion down,
Think
failing
nothing
in
of
his
it,
duties.
my dear sir.
He shows up late.
Well,
He didn't hear the cock crow.
Shall we?
At once, shower. And I trust you'll accept my apologies for
Very
bringing
gospelish.
you out of so raw morning. Never was much of a scholar. I never had time for it. Hey. Nearly have me.
Little Hans.
Huh? Hands! Get him away from here! Get him away, do you hear? You get that boy away from here! Get him away! I think it'll be bad! Away! Away, Hands!
Here, boy!
Nobody's going to say anything about the priest chasing after the
Do
boy?
it now. Come on.
It's kind of
it's my
interesting.
hand. You gotta
I was
hang it
thinking
up
though
anyway.
that just shows how ineffective he is in religion altogether.
Well, that sobered him up.
Little Hans, oh no! So the opening scene really gets your attention. You got this poor kid, and the first thing that you see is that he's traumatized. And as I was saying, Frankenstein is almost relegated to a supporting role here. The story actually takes on most of the movie, and it affects everything.
Okay. So
You guys
then
hear
that's
her?
the son watching his father being executed.
Exactly.
Right. This is the next scene after the credits. The grown boy watching and remembering. So it sets up the rest of the film because this is still to me the opening scene.
And it just so happens that he works for Dr. Frankenstein.
66.
He wound up all the way out here because I'm not exactly sure.
Yes, Dr. Hertz.
But come quickly, I need you.
Yeah.
A drink in heaven's name.
Doesn't affect you.
35.
And Foley Walters and Old Man.
Oh, I needed that. 47.
You may recall he was the mayor
50. 51.
in Vampire Circus.
53. 54.
Yeah.
55. 56. 57. 58. 59. Oh!
How long this time?
Well, I want to hold on to the second.
Come on, come on. No, don't touch it. I'll freeze your fingers off.
He's going to come up with liquid nitrogen. And now we see the star of the movie.
And a very unusual experiment. Like I said, what about the first three movies would have brought us here? That's always confusing to me when I see this. Would have loved to have talked to John Elder about what he was thinking.
That's cool. We're talking to the auto Bluetooth.
Stand by the switch. Now. Again.
You know, I want to point out that this is not gruesome in the least, which is kind of funny considering the other movies.
Again. Again.
Nope. No one's gonna make a joke about how many times he jacked off that switch. I mean, he flipped that switch.
Yes.
Okay. You include like his summarization of the experiment.
No, because you can't put everything up on there. So I cut this scene down down.
But I'm just saying it's the first time he mentioned souls.
Of course I'm alive. Didn't I tell you I would be?
Oh, yes, but...
Hence, I'm constantly surprised at your lack of faith in my work.
But you were dead.
Was it not technically, yes?
Oh, this is all too much for me. All I know is that you're here and that you're well. We must have a party and celebrate.
That's very flattering. To celebrate the success of my experiment.
Oh, experiment nothing. I want to celebrate your safe return. Hence, the brandy.
Oh, no, thank you, no. I know your brandy. But a glass of champagne would be very welcome.
Oh, champagne? Do you think I'd drink that stuff if I could afford champagne?
To me, that's a very different experiment scene compared to some of the other ones that we've seen on the other movies. Very sedate, very professional look at everything else. There was no gore of any kind or another, and there was metaphysical speculation.
Well, plus
Certainly
he
something we've never
he
seen in any other
experimented on himself, which is unexpected.
Exactly. Except that we do remember that in Revenge, the way that he had to like put his head back on and stuff, or transfer his brain to another body.
Well, like you said, it was very sedate, but also it was another thing too was that they brought up, not at that moment, but a little bit later, about using the Earth as a power source, and it was like they were trying to throw different things together that they didn't fully explain.
There was a lot of that. Beth, why did you pick this scene?
I thought that it was good to set the whole scene up. One, you found out that his dad died. Two, he's now working for Frankenstein. And three, Frankenstein's doing experiments with the soul, which, as we discussed earlier, was weird because that really is what sets the whole film up. The fact that he has a soul. Well, I mean, he does a good foundation. They always do good beginnings. And this sets the film up. You have a lot less showy on this one, like the last one, because Universal was involved with. Here, you just had those nice bubbly tanks that are in every single one of them. I thought that was good, and I thought it set the whole thing up. Now, the next scene, he gets sent to get the champagne and runs into Susan Denberg, who we've already discussed was Magda in Star Trek's Mud's Women. And he meets three bad guys, if there are, so we get some moral ambiguity. Some of these actors you see coming in here, we did mention Thorley Walters, who actually was in not just Vampire Circus, but in Hammer's Phantom of the Opera. And if you remember Dracula's Prince of Darkness, he was the crazy patient who let Dracula in. But let's meet the three bad guys. Because you're German, of course, we've got all these nice German names. The three bad guys are Anton, Karl, and Johann. And here they come to start the crap that sets up the actual plot to the film.
Abraham Lincoln?
Yes, gentlemen. White or red? Selection.
Let me tell you something.
Which do you recommend?
These guys are complete assholes, and I really wanted to see them hacked to pieces. They did a great job setting them up as jerks.
And see that
Probably, Germans would actually be this, prissy. But there it is.
Well, they're probably from Berlin.
He owns a dealership, don't you know?
Where's the sound? Oh, there we go. Never mind. Sorry.
Upper class assholes.
But they're actually there though, because his daughter in the back is deformed, and they're there just to be jerks and make fun of the girl.
Of course.
It's all the same.
And this is where he's demanding that the daughter come out and serve him.
They can humiliate her.
Well, they were threatening him because one of them says his father's one of them was threatening him with his father.
Taking away his license or something.
Yeah.
Like you said, this, the next couple of scenes really. And of course, as characters go, the father's reprehensible because he's not doing anything about this.
He's weak.
Please don't tease me.
You mentioned Susan Denberg here and Star Trek.
Yes.
But did you know she was also the Playmate of the month, August 1966?
Actually, I did know that. I've went ahead and looked it up, and for the sake of art,
They said she almost made Playmate of the Year, but she missed out barely.
I was
in other words, she didn't get F. Maybe she did. She didn't do it as good as somebody else, though.
see.
Well, she was raised in Austria.
To serve it. It's all right,
What?
Father.
You're saying they don't know how to in Austria?
Style.
Dear, he nearly spelled it. Be careful, my dear.
You really
You
whip
don't
up
want your father to lose his license,
attention
do
to
you?
these scenes. Just want to like really jump through the movie screen and beat these guys up.
Yeah, gracefully she walks.
They all three. First time I saw those guys, I said, those guys are dicks.
Yes, they are dicks.
You will apologize. Did you hear what this peasant said? They heard. Do not care to talk to the spawn of murderers.
Yay! We were all just dying for that.
Attract their attention.
And his dick broke.
I hit you. I hit
His
you
dick broke. Doesn't
again.
happen with Fops. Fops can't fight.
Oh shit.
Okay,
Go get him. Go get him.
this one look good. This one look good. Yes.
Oh my God, he
He's
scarred
gonna be wearing
me.
that for a while.
Okay. Obviously, I did that because they're Fops. They're Lancy boys.
That's
Most
true.
of
But
them,
Hans was the one that grabbed the knife.
right? Because Hans is the only man there.
He does have a bit of a genetic background for that kind of stuff.
Well, they do bring that up later on,
Well,
which I didn't.
well, he
Get
was.
Also,
that.
too,
He
they were
was.
using their cane, so I think he's kind of justified.
Yeah, and like I said, most of those three guys, Anton, Peter Blythe, mostly TV, lived a long, semi-long life. Carl actually was in two other Hammer films, though, The Devil Ship, and he was also in The Kids of the Vampires. And John Derek did Yes, Prime Minister for you, Kevin.
The Dandies came back later in the night, and they went ahead and actually killed her father, the shopkeeper. But
And-
somehow or another, the police blamed him because they found something a jacket that he had left with the. If you think about how much of the film is occupied by this plot, this part of the plot, you realize that Frankenstein is actually a secondary character.
It is. It is. And then this scene shows it here, too, because I showed the guillotine scene to show how screwed up she was coming back home. And the first thing she sees when she comes back to the village is her boyfriend being guillotined. He also was being guillotined because he couldn't tell them, right, I slept with her, because that would have got them both in trouble anyway.
It's like a Johnny Cash song.
Was he just too embarrassed? He didn't want to like admit it on.
Well,
So where did she go?
she went off. She was sent off
She runs
to a
up.
doctor in another town to see if he could help her.
Okay.
She comes back and sees him being guillotined because they did it that fast, just a matter of 2 or 3 days. And now her dad's dead. Her boyfriend just was killed because she's going to tell everybody they slept together. She doesn't know how to handle it, so
So Frankenstein decides to go ahead and use it off for experimental purposes.
right.
That's kind
get
of
a fresh
evil
one.
of him, I guess. It's kind of evil of him, I guess.
He gets Carl's body, not to use the body, but to grab his soul.
So that they can go ahead and use her body as the receptacle of the soul.
So it's a male soul in a female body.
Wouldn't that be considered gender dysphoria?
It's kind of opening up the door, that sort of
Man and
thing.
woman's-
What was it? They used Hans's brain and put Hans's brain into her body.
He put Han's soul in his body. So it's both their souls in her body. He was able to actually extract the soul.
Oh, was that
Exactly
the freaking
like
light
he was-
diodes?
Yeah,
the
and that
light
shit like
diodes
that.
captured
And
the-
he's,
Yeah.
right,
and the
he captured the
pitchfork?
soul.
Or the
Right.
tuning fork?
They're not sure if Hans' soul took to her body and how it's going to affect her body. So he brings her to the guillotine because this is the source of all of his trauma, both childhood and adult, to see how she reacts.
Oh, there's a hammer horse.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually all in accordance with the doctor's experimentations too.
Right.
When you see it, I want you to tell me whatever thoughts come into your head. Now, will you do that? Good. Yes.
What did you say?
So that's also the shock, though. I think they imply sets up the fact that
Is the catalyst to her and him
Right.
becoming cohorts and in revenge.
And of course, I had to show the first murder. Very well done, because you wanted Anton really killed.
Oh, wants to take a trip down memory lane.
That was the house where the girl and her father lived.
Right.
Yes.
And it hears Hans's voice.
So, was it a situation where those three guys were more or less always picking on her?
Yes. That's why they went there, just to pick on her.
And
That
they
night.
went ahead and killed her father, and they bore false witness against him during the trial.
I kind of cut this scene down because they kind of beleaguered this scene.
Yes.
Obviously, he's messed up.
He's startled, frazzled.
The main part of this scene is this is the first appearance of a gussied up psycho killer.
That's gonna say.
That would be Susan Denberg.
Earlier.
And when I say
That-
gussied up, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that was Eric was doing a
That's hard.
Talking Heads
Oh, God.
reference.
Oh, he's gone. You know, got to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's what the old man should have done in
Yeah.
the first part of the movie.
He owns a dealership.
So the other two guys went home.
Right, left him there because they don't want to deal with his babbling. I kind of cut that down because they kind of beleaguered, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Pour another drink. Let's play more games.
Wait a minute. Christina has cleaned up.
You're right.
Yes, she's gussied up.
And she's blonde now. Like, I'm not being a hater. It's just like they could have left her blonde the whole way through.
Well, whose choice
I've kind of got a theory about that.
was it ever discussed about whose choice it was for her appearance? Like, did Frankenstein
Okay.
do
She
that?
did this, what she was.
Follow me on this, will you, for a second? Supposedly I read where they were considering this, they were going to make it back in the 50s as an answer to Roger Vadom's and God
Yes.
Made Woman. So
Right.
maybe they thought she looked like Bridget Bardot if they gave her blonde hair.
Well, she usually showed up
Very
blonde.
Frankenstein.
If you look at Susan Denberg, like I said, when she was doing Mud's Women, she was blonde. They just put a ugly brown wig on her for the first half of the thing because I guess they think that brown is associated with ugly. And yeah, she's cleaned up because the thing is, when she killed herself, that means Frankenstein got a hold of her body and cleaned her up. But she cleaned herself up sexy wise because every time she's around Frankenstein and is Christine and not Hans, her hair's in like
Not just
Swiss
that,
braids.
but she's acting like somebody's daughter when she's around 30 Walters and stuff, and that's the relationship they have. So he was surprised to find out what she really wound up was doing in the evenings.
Right.
Suppose not. It's just that I've never seen you here before.
Ta-da.
Oh.
Now he sees her.
It's that come hither
You're
look.
very.
Like you said, for a studio that's was famous for beautiful women, she's like right at the top.
I suppose.
In my humble opinion.
Well, it's not like you haven't been saying that all night.
And you have been to lots of girls.
Of course.
Do you want to come with me?
Where?
Anywhere. There's an empty house just around the corner.
No.
Well,
No.
well then,
He knows what house that is.
I don't know.
So let's see which head wins out.
Do, 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 do.
Okay. I was young once.
Little Anton always wins.
The little
Exactly.
soldier.
In the movies.
I see the girl who lives here.
she lied.
She was ugly. All twisted. Like this.
If there was any question if he deserved this, he just erased it right there. No sympathy left.
I am real.
A little bit.
I shall. In a minute.
Hey, where are you going?
To change.
Now, is
That's
this
funny.
their
That's
old
funny.
house, or is this where, like, the pub was?
You know,
Their old
The pub
house.
was this is their old house. The pub was where they were before they just changed it just changed owners.
Okay.
What's funny was where are you going? I'm going to change. That's funny.
Comes out as Anton.
Hans.
Or Hans.
Anton would be pretty weird though.
Right.
I say,
I'm sure the dandies probably already tried that kind of thing anyway.
where you hiding?
Predator becomes a prey.
If you've been tricking me,
He,
Anton. Kill.
and I
Hey,
thought
that
that
was like an art house version of that. But
Right.
apparently he got tossed into the guillotine.
the version I had doesn't really show you.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
show his death.
Well, they don't show
I
any of
get
them.
it.
So
Any
he,
of the real deaths, they do these little cutaways like that.
Well,
so the
They-
death
they at
is
least show
off
the-
screen.
But they at least show how they ended up. I
Well,
mean,
that's
the next
true.
guy, they show how he ended up. And they actually show the third one happening.
They do. The third one was very nice. I showed that one too. A cut down version also. They always had trouble with the censors, which I always found funny. They didn't show any real blood. And one more thing I got to bring up too, in case, because I don't think it was an accident. Her last name is Cleve, as in to cleave or cleaver. But like I said, I couldn't ignore the 3 murders, even though some people thought it was too gory at the time. I'm going, really?
It was a gentler
Agreed. This
time.
is it.
But you think about 4 or 5 years later, all bets are off in Hammer films.
Yes.
Well, that's because they're trying to keep up.
They're trying to keep up. They're also losing their American sponsors because that was actually half the game. If they couldn't get an American sponsor, they were hard pressed to get it distributed in America, where they made most of their money.
Agreed.
What we're seeing here now is they find Carl's body, and he wrote Hans in blood beside it, which how he was able to, I have no idea if she cleaved his freaking head off. And that's when everybody thinks, oh, it must have been Frankenstein and his witchcraft that did this. And he figures out that no, she's probably doing it because Hans is doing it. And he's going out looking for her. She's already got the third conspirator out for a picnic.
Warm.
Would you like to rest for a while?
Mm-hmm.
That's a likely line if I've ever heard one. This even kind of looks like 70s softcore porn right now. I'm just saying.
That's how they used to do it on the continent.
Are you hungry? Pass me the basket.
I bet you are.
And what we find out, though, is that she paid off the coachman there to fake having to stop.
Yes.
To specifically bring him to that spot.
Yeah.
So that Hans can finish the job.
The kiss first. Now, these.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Uh-oh, not the cheese knife.
Thought it'd be something bigger, but this'll work.
You
Do
missed
you
it by that
really
much.
want to know who I am, Johann?
How did you know my name?
I am Christina Cleve.
Do it, do it, do it! Wah, wah.
Okay.
Oh,
He just missed it.
Three.
He just missed it. He almost did it.
So it should be like...
Oh, what's in the box?
You have
There.
done what you had to do, Christina.
Be
You
like
may
that.
rest in peace.
Okay. So that's quite a scene. That's the goriest thing they showed all movie.
But that was Hans's head, we assume?
Yes.
That's no doubt. She had it. It was influencing her, I guess. There's a scene early in the movie where they dig up Hans's body and they want to know where the head is.
Mm.
Christina! Stop there. Listen to what I have to say. It wasn't you who killed those young men. You didn't know what you were doing. Let me tell you who you really
like
are.
he almost cares.
I know who I am,
Please.
and what I have to do. Forgive me.
Ah, bloop.
Into the whitewater.
And that is it. He just walks quietly away, whistling as he
Yes.
goes.
I don't know. I don't know if he's learned anything or not.
Just looks at the camera, shrugs, and walks off.
And that pretty much is the end of the film.
Just
Until we see the next one, which is Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. Interesting about Susan Denberg, who played a really sad character here, was apparently she had problems with, of all things, LSD.
much to my surprise, when I was researching Evil of Frankenstein, I was surprised to find like one of the search engine results dealt with is Evil of Frankenstein queer coded. Supposedly, because some people have read that the Frankenstein monster in that film represents Dr. Frankenstein's homosexuality, which I think you have to look awfully hard to see that.
To look at it
through
a particular lens.
So then this one, the Frankenstein Created Woman, the main part of the plot is you have a woman who Dr. Frankenstein puts inside her the soul of a man, her lover, but it's still a man. And therefore, I know that there's going to be people out there that's going to look at this as being trans-coded. And I want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit because I think it's obviously dangerous to read modern sensibilities into anything. And honestly, I see this as being more, if anything else, maybe more about trauma bond. But I want to go ahead and ask you guys, what do you see about this issue and whether or not you see any sort of trans coding in all of this?
And here's the thing, I did a little reading on this. And I also want to say that I am not a medical or mental health professional. I don't play one on television. However, this is my understanding of things. There's a term that's fell out of usage now, but it used to be very popular, gender dysphoria. That's my understanding that gender dysphoria, and it's still, by the way, it is in DSM-5. You've got the idea that you're biologically one gender, and then somehow or another, for whatever reason, psychologically, you identify or feel that you're actually the other gender. That's gender dysphoria. Now, in this story, you could argue that that actually happens because she's actually a beautiful woman, and all of a sudden, when she's not under the influence of the head, she's a beautiful woman who doesn't have an identity or is unsure of her identity. But when the head, the guy takes over, she becomes like the nasty little seductress who's ready to freaking pull off all kinds of nasty revenge things. So I think there's some trans ideology in there that you could possibly justify because you've got this female influence and male influence, and they're at odds.
I think, if anything, it's negative because, you do have them trying to force one on the other, and all you get is a raving lunatic.
Well, that's true, but it also would help if we had a clearer idea of the...
You know what? You kind of get...
time period. Well, no, the time period, because, we're given the... I guess Peter Cushing is assuming that the soul leaves in an hour? Or that's his assumption. We don't...
Based on the first experiment?
Yeah, I mean, based on his experiment, but we don't have that time period. So I guess one thing you have to ask yourself is, where's her soul at the time the body is delivered?
Okay, interesting hair split there.
And now her soul's still there, but you got to assume her soul was still there because when she came to, she was acting like a normal woman.
That's problematic, and the reason it's problematic is this. She had no idea who she was. So, and there's so many things that we don't understand why, because nobody's ever really taken a man's brain and put it in a female's body and then had them at odds with each other. So there's so many things that we technically can't actually know the technical part of it, but we can also witness what the hell actually happened in the movie.
That's true, but you kind of get the feeling too they're playing to gender stereotypes. When she's acting the female, she's conniving. When she's acting the man, she's aggressive.
Yeah, but the thing is this though, when she was acting the female, she was actually kind of demure, and the doctors, especially Thorley Walters, is like treating her like a little girl almost.
Right, but then she starts getting polite once you know she's got to kill.
Yes, she got an experience of the guy's brain, then she turned into a little slut.
I did a dive on this, and apparently the whole Frankenstein, even the novel itself has been appropriated by the LGBTQ community as being an allegory for their existence. Because Frankenstein is considered somebody on the margins.
Even though this person was created and not born.
But in the novel, he was in the captain's bed telling them stories.
But there's also that idea. It's like you're talking about male versus female. The thing is, she acts like that she's being instructed. I wouldn't say controlled, but like the times where she's looking at his head and the times where you hear his voice telling her what to do and she's asking him what she should do.
Now the question
And
is how
that's,
much
and
control.
that's every scene that she kills anybody, you hear him. And then you don't get a clear picture of it until you actually see his head hanging on the thing. I think there's enough in there to say that there was gender dysphoria going on. I know that that's not a politically correct term these days, even though it's still in DSM-5. But I'm just saying there was enough of that to go around that where you could say the LGBT trans community could probably appropriate this and build some kind of story about it. It is a trans allegory. I think that's a good way to put it.
But if it is, it's a negative one, because in the end, by trying to flip it, you get somebody who's not stable.
And like I said, draw your own conclusions.
I mean, that's what I got from it. And when she realized she couldn't be whatever,
She killed herself as a woman, and then she ended up killing herself in her second state, or however you want to look at that as.
But I don't know if she was like horrified by what she had done. Who knows? They didn't actually go into that. I just figured she killed herself because her whole world had been completely and totally messed up. Her dad was dead. Her lover was dead. She was murdered 3 times over.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was almost like after she did the third. After she committed the third murder, he tells her, "You can rest now."
Yes.
So it's almost like, okay, I'm done with you. It was a gentle way of saying it.
All right, let me also say something. This was one strange ass Frankenstein movie. All the conventions, everything. They just threw them out. They just threw them out.
Will you please get me something to